season. Kiwi Hawthorn certainly gave them a bit of a scare in a tightly fought contest. Went 28-22 in Brimbank's favour. So I think Kiwi Hawthorn certainly come into this game with a bit of confidence that they can knock off the ladder leaders here.
Yeah, and I chatted with a few of the Kiwi Hawthorn players during the week, bombarding my inbox, and they're quietly confident. The first round match as well, they lost on the bell to Brimbank late in the match. So almost beat them on the first occasion. So if Brimbank has one side in the competition they're slightly nervous about, it is Kiwi Hawthorn. So to come from fourth and make the grand final after only scratching into the playoffs, I'll tell you what, it's some Cinderella run Kiwi Hawthorn have been on this year.
Yeah, exactly right. And you never know what pressure is going to be felt on grand final day. It really depends who shows up and sets the standard from the outset. And he's going to be big number 8, Michael Dowie, with the kickoff duties to get this game underway for us. And we're underway. Kick taken in well on the far side there by Brimbank. So they look to just set a platform early. Taken in now by Utah. Takes that first hit up. Setting out wide now early, looking to use that damaging midfield. Cutout pass goes to ground and a little bit lacks to pick it up, although the ball's kept alive. And tossed back in there. It was knocked on by tail of Kiwi Hawthorn, but enterprising start there from Brimbank, trying to set it wide early.
Yeah, you can see how they like to use Ciolo in second man play. And what was impressive about that, it wasn't a second man play off the fly half. There was an extra pass to the midfield before they start running decoy runners there. So their shape is very hard to defend because they run a lot of those triangle plays a little bit wider in the attack line, which not a lot of teams are actually capable of doing. So very, very schmick looking shape from the Bucks early.
First scrum of the day. Always a big moment for both front rows. Strong from Brimbank as it's at the back now. Switch back under the inside. A damaging run, but well tackled in midfield. And on the toe there of Leota. Finds a bit of space inside the 22. And counter-attack opportunity now from Hudson as he beats the first couple of attackers there. Sends that ball out wide. And it's a good return there from Hawthorn. They've earned that penalty too for being off their feet. Great heads-up play from Ollie Hudson there.
Well, he's a huge addition to the team this week, Joshy. You and I were both lucky enough to watch Kiwi Hawthorn play in that prelim last week with that upset victory that they had. And Ollie Hudson wasn't playing that game, and all the chat was this week was, you know, they're a 2-try better side with him playing in the side. And brave from him to run it from his own quarter there, but you got an insight just how dangerous his footwork is. So that brings them an extra threat this week that they didn't even have in the prelims. A match that they were very impressive in, nevertheless.
Yeah, I think a fullback with footwork is always pretty important on those counter-attack opportunities, so I'm sure we'll see plenty of ball in his hands today. So now got our first line out of the day. I think that ball went straight into a puddle.
Straight into the pond. It's rained quite heavily during the week, and that's why they've shut off the car park over there, Joshy, because it's underwater. They're afraid a few cars were going to get bogged. Couldn't have that happen to your Range Rover now, could we?
God, I hate to get it covered in mud. Just taking a moment to make sure we get this gap set from the outset. And contested well by Brimbank. They've won that one against the throw. As Dowie wraps up to Gaga there. And again, shifting it pretty wide early. And that's solid contact in midfield there. Ma'ota from Brimbank has not taken a backward step, but he was met very well by Tale on that occasion. And cheeky box kick out to an unmarked winger there. And now the chip ahead. Covering back there is Garcia, and he's fighting off the first defender before finding a little bit of space. Sends it out wide to Hudson now, who does fancy his chances again. That pass looked a bit questionable and will be called back.
Wow. Interesting, but you got to take your hat off to Shane Tagaga. He was the one who took that cheeky little box kick. When we saw him pick up the ball at the base of that ruck and put the crossfield kick in, I think everyone was scratching their head, but he was smart. There must have been a call from out wide of an unmarked player loitering on the edge. I fancy it might have actually been EJ Tyrell, the big lock out there.
It did look like him, yeah. So classic second rower seagull. Always happy to pinch a chip out wide.
But great heads-up play. That's a brave play from a number 9 to do a crossfield kick like that, and it paid off.
Another solid scrum now. And that will be, again, that man Maota had plenty of work early in this game. It's a little bit scrappy in that ruck there. And Tugaga sorry, it wasn't Tugaga then. It was pick off the back. And it will be lost in the contact. Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, what really killed their momentum there was that first phase carry from Farrell Maota. Such a powerhouse. But you could see he lost his footing there, Joshy, when he got it. And he fell down a bit prematurely. And what it meant was just on that second phase, when you've got the forwards coming around the corner, they didn't have quite the momentum they were expecting from their crash ball 12 because he lost his footing. And I saw you pre-game, Joshy, walking around on the field. It's a little bit slippery underfoot, isn't it, because of all the rain?
Yeah, you can certainly sort of probably pick that up on the camera there. There's probably sort of 8 or 9 sort of solid patches of wet, soft mud in the field there. So that's going to play a bit of a part in some of these plays today. And it's sent out wide early. And
McCann.
They've made pretty good space out on that left-hand side on the counter-attack, but going to come back for a penalty for standing up in the scrum. It was Brody Walker, the 12 there, who sent the early cutout pass, trying to find McCann in a bit of space on that left wing. So a couple of early touches and found himself with a few metres in front of him.
He brought a lot of energy last week, didn't he, McCann? He came on, I fancy, as a substitute after only 10 minutes in that match in their prelim win. And we could hear him from the sideline. Lots of chat, getting stuck up the boys. He's one of those guys that brings a bit of a motor mouth to the field and always got something to say, McCann. So, real busy bee for Kiwi.
Maybe has a history as a number 9 with that sort of attitude.
No doubt.
Assistant referee doing his job here, getting the back line on side. And again, that's one against the throw by Brimbank. Knocked on at the back jumper there. As they look to set themselves. Bit of a counter-attack there in the ruck, which looks fine. They were going to come back for a knock-on off the back of the line-out.
Yeah, it was Isaac Takai who did the good work at the counter ruck there and just disrupted Brimbank a little bit. It amounted to nothing ultimately, but yeah, you touched on it. You said there's about 8 or 9 soft patches around here. One of the really interesting ones, and we saw this in the earlier game, Joshy, was the smack bang in the middle of the field on halfway. It's just a bog, and you might not be able to pick it up too well on the camera, but the kickers from kickoff actually had to move off the centre pitch and move about 10 metres to the left or right, because you can't actually get much of a drop on the ball. So that'll affect not just kickoffs, but scrums as well. And whenever they try to pack down a scrum, bang on halfway in the middle.
And picks blind this side as Tugaga puts that on the toe, and that one will just trickle into touch about 25 metres out from the Kiwi Hawthorn line. And a couple of different kicks that we've seen from Brimbank so far to start this game. So obviously wanting to play it down the Kiwi Hawthorn end and also try and give themselves maybe a bit of an attacking opportunity to regain some of these.
That was the play, though. That was the play. You could see Hudson, the fullback, defending on the far side of the field. So there was no one covering the backfield on the short side. So I love that option, though.
A couple of heads-up play there from Tugaga, the 9. And penalty there for not releasing. And Another attacking opportunity now for Brimbank as they'll look to plug this one into the corner and maybe give us our first maul of the day.
Yes, we'll finally get to see how these teams battle it out in the maul stakes. It's, well, you'd like to think you're a lock. Any coach would like to think they're a lock if they get a line out within eight or so metres of a line. Slightly longer, I think. So maybe a bit too far for the Bucks on this occasion, though.
They have gone 5-man line out here, so might see that hit up in midfield. Although they're set for the maul early. Fancy their numbers against lesser opponents in that drive as the rest of the forwards now come to join in. It's still moving forward. Very close to the line. Just going to have to get the ball down. And can't be done, but we will come back for another penalty to Brimbank here.
And a card, Joshy.
Yeah, wow. Is that to Michael Dowie, is it?
Gee whiz. Mate, man of the match last week in the bin. Was that even... Well, if it was stopping a certain try, I can appreciate that because it wasn't from repeated warnings, was it?
No, I mean, you have to think as a deliberate act of collapsing there. Couldn't really be anything else, but maybe begs the question if possible penalty try was there.
Now, I'm interested by this. It looks like they're shaping for a scrum, which I can somewhat appreciate if they're a lock number 8 down. But the maul, it peeled off an easy 8 metres there before they had to illegally stop it. I would love to have seen them go back to the sideline, but perhaps they like what they've got at scrum time as well. And we always know, Joshy, whenever you've got a back rower in the bin, an 8 peeling off the back is often the hardest play to defend because the back row just are a little bit uncertain about the responsibility of who takes an 8 when there are back row players short. So they've got a really big short side here, and I know that their winger, Pala Luaga, is positioned behind the scrum, but yeah, I don't know. If they get a bit of a swivel on, I would love to see Leota go down that short side maybe.
Yeah, you imagine Liuga's just sitting there trying to sort of draw his opposing winger across and open up that 8-9 space on the right. As they do try that side now, and he's going to back himself, but well wrapped up by the blind side there. I think that was Tyrell Sharp. Do have the momentum. They'll certainly be looking to capitalise on this opportunity early, Brimbank. Arms go up in celebration, but referee does not agree. Going to come back for another 5-metre scrum.
Well, I mean, you could see he wanted to go down that short side from the start, Sialoga Leota, and, well, the ball just spat out at the back of his feet and sort of killed any momentum he would have had. But their ability to regather momentum on that second and third phase was really impressive because they had numbers behind the ball, Kiwi Hawthorn. They had a full set defensive line, and yet the next 2 phases, they still conceded a metre. Just goes to show how strong the ball carriers of Brimbank are. And when you're starting your set this close to the line, it just feels inevitable that they're going to cross.
Yeah, certainly feel like it is only a matter of time. As we come open side now, and dummy switches the option, and that's a good tackle in midfield by Walker. And the error is forced as Kiwi Hawthorn hold them out after a couple of mounts there. And that's definitely a missed opportunity for Brimbank early.
Yeah, Shane Chigago with the knock on, and you got to feel for him because he's been really impressive so far, the number 9 for Brimbank. And you could just tell when the body fell before him, he positioned the ball in such a way that you sort of sometimes force a halfback to go a certain way based on the body shape you land in when you're the tackled player. And I got the feeling he wanted his players to come around the corner and use the momentum, but when the person placing the ball on the ground sort of had his body positioned back down the short side, it forced Chigaga to go there, and it probably wasn't the direction he wanted to go.
Yeah, just going back to that first scrum opportunity they had without Dowie there, you get the feeling that the blindside winger there, Liuga, may well have actually just been better off sitting right out on the sideline because his opposing winger didn't follow him to match up in defence, and so the number 8, Sialoga Leota, was basically forced just to back his luck and run for the corner post rather than commit that first man and go sort of 8, 9, 11 to the unmarked space.
100%, Joshy.
And going to come back and have a penalty here. Looked like driving on an angle might have been the call there. So will be an easier exit now for Kiwi Hawthorn as they'll get a chance to try and win their own line out for the first time today.
Not the first penalty we've seen at scrum time. But yeah, it takes the pressure off somewhat.
Maybe just a bit too much eagerness from Brimbank to get the shove on there with the one-man advantage. Hasn't peeled off too much territory there, creeping just outside the 22. So Kiwi Hawthorn here still very much looking to try and exit their end.
Another short line out option as well.
And again, that one's one against the throw. 3 in a row now that Brimbank have pinched. Just getting their runners set. And driven back quite well there. That one man off the ruck defence has been pretty good from Kiwi Hawthorn so far. Has flicked out the back from Lugaga. But we will come back for a penalty there. Tackler not releasing the player.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Joshy, the troubles they're having at line-out time, because we were really impressed last week with Kiwi Hawthorn at the line-outs. How many? I think for the day, Matt Grant had 4 line-out steals and Isaac Takai had 2 last week. So coming into this game, you would have thought that would be an area, if not their strength, and certainly an area they would have parity in. That hasn't amounted to be the case so far. So always warning signs ringing when an area of strength is faltering so badly early on in a match.
Yeah, exactly right. As we get the line out slightly closer to the line now, we'll see if we get that short line out drive option again that worked well last time. And it's a bit scrappy off the back and towed ahead there. And that's one way to exit your end.
Yeah, Matty Grant, the skipper, putting it on the toe.
Tells the backs, if you guys can't get us out of here, I will.
Yeah, well, you're getting to that period as well, Joshy. When you camp inside another team's half for so long and don't score points, it can actually be more of a momentum thing for the opposition.
Definitely. And taken down by Tuolaga, and that's some solid contact there by Big T Noel. Bit of a fight for this ball. Get plenty of numbers committed to the ruck as finally dug out. It's taken in now by Nimarota. Just taking a bit of time each phase to get set and get it out. You'll see the tip-on pass now to Tapu. This is taken down by Harden. And again, the box kick option, but that's charged down and regathered there by Utah. And another bit of good ball play here as we send it out wide. Taken in there by Tia Siolo as he tries his luck for the corner, pops back inside. And we have our first try of the day. Vasily Leota running that support from a crafty little pop-up pass from Tia Siolo. And Brimbank finally cracked the line.
That is as good a try as you will see in all of Victorian rugby, be that Jewish Shields or Premiership, Prem Reserves, whatever. The interplay of passing there between all of the 8 players on the left of the ruck, hot potato stuff. You didn't see anyone become selfish and try to tuck it under their chicken wing or throw a cutout past Joshy and burn up the overlap. That was just good, hard, straight running. Quick hands as well. That's impressive footy.
Yeah, I think we can probably chalk that one down largely to number 8, Sialoga Leota there, who probably 2 out of those 4 phases, they had the ball there, ran a real hard line in midfield, looking like he was going to be the one to crash it up, only to tip it on at the last minute and create that space on the outside. So very talented ball-playing ability there from the number 8.
I was getting a few messages during the week, Joshy, some interstate friends talking about how they're going to tune in today. And yeah, a lot of them chatting about Brimbank and the idea of maybe having some interest as...
Oh, not quite.
Off the post. Some interest in seeing how they would go against Jewish Shield teams. And a genuine fascination with seeing how Brimbank would actually go if they were, playing week in, week out against the likes of a Footscray, Powerhouse, and Unicorns and Uni. Whether they could stand up to that or not over the space of a season, certainly an interesting question.
Maybe one we need some sort of round robin type tournament between some of the clubs.
End of season Super Bowl, perhaps.
As Nimarota returns that one and getting good counter-attack pressure from both sides now. Kiwi Hawthorn have won that one over the top. Great work at ruck time. And as Captain Matty Sharp pops another one on the toe there and tipped ahead there by Garcia as he follows his own kick. It's regathered by Kiwi Hawthorn as they get their first chance inside the 22 now. And just dove at and knocked on there by the Brimbank player. Maybe questionable whether or not that could have been a penalty. Didn't look like there was any real intent to do anything but knock that ball down.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're going to send Michael Dowie to the bin for collapsing a maul during a certain try, I think Farrell Maota should consider himself very lucky he's not to the sin bin now, because as you touched on, Joshy.
Yes, mate.
Joshy. They had front foot ball, 3 metres out from the line, and they had a 5-on-3 on the open side. Yeah, he's lucky not to be shown yellow there, considering the standard that's already been set by Jason Breitenbach.
And Michael Dowie is back on the field from that sin bin now, as Kiwi Hawthorn will get their first attacking set-piece opportunity. It's controlled well at the back there by Dowie as he pops it off to Garcia from a flying Maota. Lucky not to catch the shoulder there of the big man. But the counter-attack's been good and did win it there, but we're going to come back for a scrum penalty.
Maota the Missile, Joshy. That's what the crowd tell me his nickname is, the inside centre for the Brimbank Bucks. We've seen it in attack. That was our first chance to see it in defence. That guy only knows one speed.
Exactly right. Only a matter of time, I imagine, until one of those flying shots lands flush on someone.
Yeah, if I'm Brodie Walker starting at inside centre, I'm sweating bullets. I'm calling a switch play. I don't want to be taking a straight-up crash ball.
I mean, that was Victor Garcia on the loop around there who nearly wore it. It's probably the smallest man on the field, so count himself lucky, that one. Fed in now by Garcia. Been good on the first few opportunities of their own ball, Kiwi Hawthorn, as Dowie just controls this one. Advantage being played again. I want to use this, Kiwi Hawthorn. It's a bit of a rabble off the back of the scrum there, but still advantage being played. And tipped out wide there. And planted down. I believe we're going to actually be called in touch going off the assistant referee. We are, so going to come back to the penalty there, but geez, must have been millimetres in it between foot in touch and ball over the try line. So Kiwi Hawthorn certainly starting to mount that pressure and try and hit back on the scoreboard.
And right call to take the scrum. They've got 3 scrum penalties already after just 20 minutes. And if I was the skipper, you'd have to be having a word to the referee. Just put the idea in his head at the moment. Hey, mate, 3 long arm penalties against Brimbank already. Surely we must be in yellow card territory. And if you could pull a yellow out of this situation, that's almost as good as a try.
Yeah, all in the tactics of a good captain. So we get a short arm penalty this time as Dowie taps off the back and goes again. You fancy the scrum option might have been the better choice there.
Yeah.
And picked off the back now by Takai. And they're just inches short of that try line as they try their luck with the pick and go again. Looks like it's going to be held up over the line, but we're coming back for a penalty for offside. Now that should remain a short arm, if I'm not mistaken.
Come on, Joshy, you know the laws. You got your referee's card. Short arm, long arm.
If it was starting as a short arm penalty and we're not 10 metres from the tap, then it should remain a short arm penalty. regardless, I don't think it's going to change the option taken here.
Got to take the scrum. Got to force the issue with the card. Yet another infringement around the scrum. And yes, a try would be beautiful, but a yellow card and then a try is even better.
Exactly right. If they got as much shove on as they did in the last scrum, they may even get both in one. It's interesting to see in these scrums so far. Both teams been pretty good on their own feed. As it just looked to set that shove again, and that looks to be fairly intentionally wheeled round by Brimbank, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just stepping quite sideways to the left, really sort of trying to negate that forward shove that Kiwi Hawthorn's trying to lay onto them. Part of the mystery of the front row games.
I'd always be tempted, knowing that it wheels that way, just to put an extra back on that side of the field for Kiwi. Just in case Dowie has to peel to the left, you want to give him as much support as possible. I wouldn't mind seeing a Walker or Tali dumped on the left just for an extra man, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly right. As that one's pretty solid now. Going to be called to use it, and comes out to this open side. Cut out pass, finds the deck before Hudson scoops it up. And big contact winger on winger there. As Kiwi Hawthorn just try to reset themselves. Picked off the back by Tale. And they've got advantage again here, Kiwi Hawthorn. Just needing numbers at the back of the breakdown. Walker out to Harden. Dowie with the cutout pass this time. They keep finding the turf with these cutouts as McCann tries his speed before popping back inside to a diving Sharp, who tips it over the try line. And Kiwi Hawthorn have got their first try of the day. They're fancying these cutout passes, and whilst they're not finding the mark, they are finding the space.
Yeah, well, the two wingers getting involved. It was Woodman who made the damaging run on the right, which got them on the front foot. He's an absolute bulldozer, Troy Woodman. And then, yeah, well, you don't see it too often, do you, Joshy? Teams spinning the ball side to side, playing East Coast, West Coast rugby when you get into the opposition 22. It's kind of a bit of a norm that you see them tuck it up, the jumper, and play more pick and goes. But they had no fear there. And it was that man, Dowie, who's just spent 10 minutes cooling his heels in the sin bin, who threw the wild cut pass. And within 30 seconds of Woodman making inroads on the right edge, it was Connor McCann making inroads on the left edge. So, well, both wingers heavily involved in that play.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think probably know that they might not have the size advantage in the backs, Kiwi Hawthorn, but might have a bit of the pace advantage out wide there. So conversion attempt will fall wide. And have we had a yellow card in that little passage there?
Well, I'm just looking. We're sitting down right in front of us to see a logo Leota, the number 8 for Brimbank. He may have been sent to the sin bin. Was he offside perhaps on that last play? There were, we had 5 repeated penalties in a row. So maybe after the try, there was a yellow card as well. So they're playing a man down for the next 10 minutes, Brimbank.
Number 8s and yellow cards, the flavour of the day so far.
Mm.
Going to have Vasily Leota to restart play here. And taken down well there before. Good contact from Pesci. And that was on the try scorer, Tyrell Sharp, who fancied his chances to try and get round him, but he was met low and hard there by Pesci and forces the error for Brimbank.
Well, what do they say? Points don't count until you exit your half. So it's all well and good to score, but from the kickoff, you've got to make sure that you claim it, 1, and 2, get the ball over halfway. Because if you don't do that, you're just inviting the opposition to reply with points of their own.
Wonder if Kiwi Hawthorn may try and get that extra shove on now. They have the numbers advantage in the scrum. The last few on their own feet have been real solid shoves. So Brimbank will be certainly trying to apply enough pressure to retain this ball cleanly.
Yeah, Big T, he's licking his lips, isn't he?
Got that one out nice and quickly with Nimaroda at the back, off to Lugaga, and Leota fancies his chance for getting a great offload away there to his namesake, Vasily Leota. And they've won that one. Great pilfer over the top there, and quick tap.
Woodman.
Yeah, it was taken, but not on the mark.
Let the boys play.
Can you see he's look at the size of his legs on Woodman. I mean, going to be a pretty hard man to move if he gets lashed onto the ball over the top like that.
Yeah, he played pretty high level over in New Zealand, Joshy. And I mean, it probably speaks volumes of the talent they've got in the midfield, Kiwi Hawthorn, but we see how damaging his runs are, and you just think, oh man, imagine if he got an extra 5 or 6 touches a game, Woodman, what damage he could do. You sometimes feel like sitting out on the wing, we don't get to see enough of him. I'd love to see him on first phase, given a roaming role to float around the midfield a little bit more, just so he can get involved. And as I say that, he's pulling out his hammy, Joshy.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't look good, Woodman, in back play.
There's always a curse of some sort in there, isn't there? Yeah. And sloppy, but this time one off the back. And Harden has to throw that one onto the left foot under a bit of pressure there. Tiasiolo sends that one off now. And finding a few bits of space there in midfield before Lugaga sends a wide cutout pass to Vasily Leota. And taken down by Walker there.
Is Walker on?
Walker's always on. And sent out now to Tapu. As Brimbank just look to try and get a bit of structure back and settle themselves. But there again is that attempted counter ruck from Kiwi Hawthorn. And that one just too far down for big Sagalala Avoa to pull off his toes. And maybe just going a little bit willy-nilly with some of these cutout passes, both teams, I think.
Yeah, well, for the second time we saw Isaac Takai lead that counter ruck there. So just wonder, sometimes coaches, when they know they want to contest breakdowns, will often task a player pre-match with giving him that responsibility, saying, right, today, whenever you're close to that ruck, we want you solely responsible for putting pressure on that breakdown. And it's not a bad tactic, particularly when the opposition halfback is so influential. And they would have seen Shane Tagaga and put a highlighter through his name this week, recognising how important he is. So anytime you can disrupt the ball he gets with counter-rucking, that's only a good thing for Kiwi Hawthorn.
And one easily there. Garcia onto Harden, who puts that one down. And not forwards was going to be the call there. That was Palaliuga, who... Tough torpy that just sort of dipped on him a little bit late, landing at his feet, and he couldn't pick it up cleanly there. And whilst Harden hasn't been getting a lot of distance on these kicks, causing a little bit of trouble when they land.
Yeah, ugly off the shoe, but it's about the outcome, I suppose. And he hasn't connected on any of these torps of his, but they've had interesting consequences. As you know, former playing in the backfield yourself, Joshy, back in the day, it's often the one that causes the most trouble for fullbacks and wings isn't the high ball necessarily. It's the one that skids around your ankles and whatnot, and you're in two minds whether you make a play for it, you stop it with your foot. And it really does expose players who don't have good hands. It's not the high ones necessarily. It's the ones that are low to the ground, which force them to have to bend over to pick up. It can play into the minds of some outside backs when they get those low kicks.
Yeah, especially when we see the ground a little bit like it is today. Often can be pretty uneven with the bounces there. It's going to hit a soft patch and just stop, or a firm bit of ground and kick up on you. As we have had our first substitution of the day, Scanlon for Ave's come off, the number 2 for Brimbank, and Aloali'i Malgatai is on. And finding a gap there in the middle, Tali Got to find Hudson on his outside, and he gets the ball to him. He will charge to the line and get the ball down for Kiwi Hawthorn's second try of the day. Tale straight into a monstrous hole.
Oh my gosh, what about for that from the centre? He had no right to find space on that fringe defence there. And he was a real handful last week in that prelim when we saw him, Joshy. Popping up here, there and everywhere. But, yeah, Ollie Hudson as well, the fullback. What did we say? How many tries is he worth, Joshy? Couple of tries a game, they say. And it's only been the first half and he's picked up his first. So, oh well, maybe the Prophets, maybe the eagle with the snake in its mouth was onto something this morning. Day of upsets, potentially. We've already had one here on the number 1 field with the Eagles getting up in the Lindroth Cup over Northern Panthers. Could we see a second upset?
Certainly anything possible on grand final days. I mean, you see it in professional sports in history where teams have gone through a whole season undefeated only to fall at the final hurdle.
Linfield second grade, 2009. Don't remind me, Joshy.
They're actually on track for that this year.
Are they?
Undefeated, straight through to a prelim final in second grade.
Oh, break the curse. Yeah, Woodman, no good, folks, for those tuning in from New Zealand. We saw this in the final 10 minutes last week. Joshy, you remember we had a trainer come out for Woodman looking at his hamstring. And, yeah, no good. He's succumbed to a hamstring injury, folks. Pulling at the right hamstring. He's walking off the field with the trainers. Head in his hands. The brick on the right wing gone. He'll be replaced by Nagera, who had a good game last week.
Deep kick this time from Leota, and that's taken in by Harden. He's got a bit more time to clear now, and that's a much better kick from Harden.
Yeah,
just grazes the line there, but good net gain out of their own end, over halfway.
So Nagera comes on to the right wing. He played fullback last week with Ollie Hudson out. He was really good. He had 4 line breaks for the game last week. Nagera, he pops up at right wing now today. So maybe a little bit less space for him to operate, but keep an eye out for him. Jersey 21.
And that one taken down there as Nimorota's going to crash this one up in the midfield there. And sent out now. Leota finds onto Mauta and taken down on halfway. And that looked available at the back, but maybe just a touch too early there from Tale. Line ball, but...
Looked okay to me, Joshy.
So we've got Sialoga Leota returning to the field after his 10-minute stint in the bin.
Well, they conceded a try as he was sent to the sin bin, and then they concede one at the end. So 10 points have been scored in the last 10-minute block, all from Kiwi Hawthorn. And we're in the championship minutes now, 5 minutes either side of halfway. What do they say? There's an old statistic that's the team who scores the most points in that 10-minute window, 5 minutes either side of halfway, wins the game 90% of the time. It's if you're going to tune in to watch any 10-minute block, this is the 10 minutes to watch. This is where champion teams stand up and score their points.
Brimbank will certainly be keen to hit back now. They've got their full complement back on the field. And tap back there, cleaned up by Lugaga, but on the back foot from the outset. Leota sends that on to Mauta and taken off a little bit late there by Tale. I'm not sure that's the man you want to be hitting late personally, but advantage actually being played now. Maybe he's got it in his head.
Tali the Tomahawk.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Taking after the missile Maota. Oh my gosh, who comes out on top in that battle?
Oh yeah, game's not over yet, and he's just sent a dirty look his way, Maota, so...
Missile and the Tomahawk. Oh, stay tuned. I'll tell you what, he's giving up about a foot as well. Tali, he's not the biggest man, is he? He stands at about 168 centimetres, the centre, as that kick doesn't find touch.
Not going to go out, no. And
catch it, Joshy.
Need the go-go gadget arms for that one. Bit of a wonky one there from Hudson. Just didn't find too good a connection with the torpy and only peeled off about 8 metres. It's going to be the new man on the field, Malgata, to put this one in. And Maul formed off there as Lugaga now sends it on to Limarota before finding Pesci. And Avoa crashes that one up one off the ruck. Lugaga out to Leota. The cutout pass again. That was a rocket of a pass. Out on the far side now to Liuga.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Has he got there? There was a reach for the line. And referee Jason Breitenbach has awarded the try. What a reach to get that one down.
The strength. Such a low centre of gravity. He had no right to score that on the far side. And often those small ones, little pocket rockets, Joshy, incredible strength that you can often misunderestimate.
Yeah, and I think there was a cutout pass there from 5'8" to Levi Leota. It was just an absolute laser out to Vasily Leota, and he tipped on to Tia Ciolo before finding Liuga out on the far wing there, and that was enough to get him close enough to plant that one down. And important hit back there for Brimbank as we come to the closing stages of this first half.
Championship minutes, Joshy.
That's what you said.
5 minutes either side determines the winner. Something incredible. I remember Ewan McKenzie came up with this stat when he was back at Wallaby. Something like 90% of the time, the winner is the team that scores the most points in that 10-minute block. So if you look at no other area of the game, just the 10 minutes, 5 minutes either side of half time, you'll predict the winner 90% of the time.
Well struck from Tia Ciolo, and the crowd
my
likes
gosh.
it enough, and so do the assistant referees.
Wow,
Great kick to end the first half there, and that will give Brimbank a narrow 12 points to 10 lead in what's been pretty back and forth first half here, so absolutely anyone's game as they go to the coaches here to find out how they're going to approach this second half. We'll be back with you shortly as we kick off again. Welcome back to the Premiership Grand Final as we have our second half just about to get underway. Brimbank leading Kiwi Hawthorn 12 points to 10 after a really good tussle in the first half there, with both teams sharing the lead at different stages and a couple of big plays from a couple of individuals there to break over the line. So we just wait now for referee Jason Breitenbach to blow us back on. We're underway in this second half. Wobbly old kick there, finds the turf, and I think it's a knock on there from Kiwi Hawthorn. Brimbank have got the early opportunity in this second half. Nimarota tips that one on, and that solid run up there from Tyrrell. And it's still going. As Gaga now out to Leota. Leota, he'll be looking to make some damage, and he pops that offload away to Vasily Leota. One quick ball here, Brimbank, and good tackle there from the opposing halfback, Garcia, to slow that one right down. It's just picked off the back there from Liuga. And penalty against Brimbank is going to be for incorrect entry, and that is a relieving penalty from a hot Brimbank start to this second half.
Yeah, Victor Garcia, take a bow. They were hot on attack, front football. Momentum alone would have got them over that try line, second last phase. And the little number 9 for Kiwi Hawthorn, with that very late counter ruck, putting pressure on the base of that ruck from Brimbank, effectively stopped all of their momentum. So that could easily have been a try to Brimbank, if not for the poachers' work around the breakdown by Victor Garcia.
Kick the touch there, millimetres from taking out our camera here. And certainly saw plenty of intent there from Brimbank, particularly a real strong run from Pharrell Maota, number 12 for Brimbank, who broke a tackle and got a great offload away. He's been damaging at times throughout this game. And cleanest line out of the day for Kiwi Hawthorn as they win that one. Harden puts it up high in the sky, and bit of confusion there, but Liuga comes away with it cleanly. And wrapped up by Harden and Walker in the midfield there. And no one at home at the back here, but hasn't been seen. And held up in the tackle, now knees on the ground. They're going to have to release him. And there's that counter-attack again, but illegally done this time. Great pop pass there, twice in a row from the forwards, but going to get the penalty here just for coming off their feet in that counter-ruck attempt.
My heart was in my mouth, Joshy, when that high ball went up from Harden. I saw signs of a big collision there between Luga and Tagaga. Last thing you want, your number 9 running backwards, unsighted by the wing, and some sort of sickening collision there. So
it's a bit Jason Gillespie, Steve Warris,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Felt like it, hey.
And certainly seeing a good tempo to start this second half from both teams as they both try and stamp a bit of authority on this game. And that one is taken down cleanly by the captain, Tio Pira. And somehow it's come away with Kiwi Hawthorn. And, well, at the moment they've won the penalty, but the arm swings the other way as we thought it might. And decision time here for Brimbank, with looking like the corner's going to be the favourable option here as they try and set the drive.
Championship minutes, Joshy. Still inside that 5 minutes, either side of half time. This is when the winning teams put their hand up. So they scored one within the last 5 minutes. They peel off another 5 points here now. They'll go out on a limb and say they'll run away with this, Brimbank.
Big call by Mr. Jared McClenahan himself there. And tap back there, bit of pressure. I think there was just a little knock on there off Kiwi Hawthorn on that first regather attempt. So we'll have the scrum in a pretty nice little attacking position there for Brimbank.
Yeah, well, I'm keen to see their formation here, Joshy. It's been under a little bit of pressure, the Brimbank scrum, although they're back to eight men now, which is going to be helpful. And we saw in the first half, in a similar situation, Leota went down the short side. And you were very critical of, I think it was Paolo Luaga, who didn't start down the short side. And they came up short when he peeled away off the back there. But I'd be so keen to see the missile, Farrell Mel'Otta, get the ball here. We know he's such a weapon, the inside centre for Brimbank.
Great shove from Kiwi Hawthorn.
Huge
Spews
shove.
out the other side. Gaga sends it back now to Luaga, and he's going to dummy and try and weave his way through those midfield defenders. Off there to Sialoga Leota, and he's only inches away. Brimbank look to try and set themselves to cross this chalk again. Gaga finding his option there, and Maota comes in to do some of that dirty work in close. Liuga's screaming forward out on this right-hand side. He's got some space to work with and a bit of a mismatch on Dowie. It's just very slow coming out of this ruck, and one off the ball again. And it's going to be no try. Held up, but we'll come back for a penalty as Lugaga's just weighing up the option of a quick tap here, having a look, but not to be on. Although he's going to take it anyway and back himself. Maybe just a few signs of a bit of impatience from Brimbank here. They just need to try and set themselves and find the right option. Couple of back-to-back pick and goes as Leota, strong man with that ball, but great tackle to get under him and hold him up there, although coming back for yet another penalty.
Yeah, we've got to be in yellow card territory, I feel, Joshy. This is 3 in a row on their try line. Next one, surely a goner.
Yeah, much like we did see in the start of the first half, just that relentless territory and pressure with Brimbank right on the line, and Kiwi Hawthorn eventually sort of held them out for a little while before finally scoring, as that one is tipped on to Terrell. And out the back now, Leota, he dummies and has a go himself before being wrapped up by Tale. And there's a bit of space out left, and that's where it goes. Intercept taken and wrapped up by Tia Ciolo. Kiwi Hawthorn now on the counter-attack. The ball goes on the shoe, and we have a race on our hands. Tali and Tia Ciolo. Dove on, possibly knocked on, but Garcia picks that one up to maintain it, and the ball has got to come left. Quick ball needed. Tale, certain try gone begging there. Garcia now sends it out. Harden, Walker, he's trying to find the right space, but that slippery surface underfoot. Out now to Dowie, he chips it on. inside to Baker. Only a couple of metres out from the line. Blindside pick is the go there. Kiwi Hawthorn now just trying to find a bit of time to get the ball out to the middle there. And spinning out of that first tackle was the captain, Matty Grant. Garcia again. Harden sends it out to Tali. And there wasn't a lot of arms in that tackle, but it sent him to the ground. And the penalty will be called, and the assistant referee has certainly picked up on that one. We may have another yellow card on our hands here, I think.
Oh, Tali. More that... I don't want to be negative. That's the most selfish play I've seen this season, Joshy. He had a 6-on-1 on the left. They could be dancing under the black dot right now, high-fiving each other, and... he threw a dummy?
It's very questionable, that one. It was, just begging to be passed, that ball, and haven't had a look.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the funny thing. If this is a yellow card for a no shoulders, no arms tackle, is that what we're thinking could be the issue?
Was what it looked like.
It did look. It was on Tali, that man himself, when they rushed up to jam on him. And it was an important jam that needed to be made because they did have an overlap on that right edge, Kiwi Hawthorn. If they escape here without a yellow card, they can count themselves a little bit lucky, Brimbank. But perhaps justice, because they had all of those penalties down the other end of the fields only 2 minutes ago.
There it is.
Yeah, okay. Fair call. But how the tables turn. 30 seconds ago, they were putting all the pressure on Kiwi Hawthorn.
Are we still in the championship minutes?
No, we're out to the 9-minute mark now.
Anyone's game.
Well, they did outscore them in that 10-minute block. Brimbank.
Yep.
Was it 7-0 in that 10-minute block? So, statistically, Joshy, I know you're a little mathematics whiz. History tells us that they're in the box seat. Yep. Although they could easily be down on the scoreboard now, playing against a 15-man Kiwi Hawthorn team in a good field position.
Yeah, it was Poe Pesci, the winger for Brimbank, who's been yellow carded. As Garcia picks that one off. Hudson, great tip on there, and that will be a try instantly to Lawrence Noguera. We spoke of the damage he did last week on the field, and comes on and gets Kiwi Hawthorn ahead of the scoreboard on the second half. And instant hit after that yellow card.
I appreciate they're a man down at the moment, Brimbank, but the way they defended that midfield scrum leaves you scratching your head. Any sort of midfield scrum shape, you need to have an equal 3-3 split defensively, regardless of how many people they put down that short side. And they started that play with only one person on the short side defending it and one in the boot. That's suicide for any defensive team. And that's maybe a little bit of lack of rugby nous in that situation to only have one person on the short side. You've got to split equally 3-3 on midfield scrums, particularly when you're on your own try line. So mathematics, Joshy. It's a mathematics problem there for Brimbank, leaving that short side so woefully unguarded.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think especially always going to that right side off a scrum tends to be pretty favourable.
Anyway.
Yeah, without the halfback being the extra defender there. So
if they were going to be short-manned, you'd rather be short-manned on the other side of the scrum, and yet inexplicably they left themselves short-man on what was their left-hand edge, which, that's a big mistake.
Yeah. And versatile big man Michael Dowie lines up this kick from the far touchline. Just shaping away and grazes that left-hand upright. And score will remain at 15 points to 12 in favour of Kiwi Hawthorn.
Did someone hit the post in the first half for that?
Yeah, the first conversion.
So we're up to our 5th game of rugby here today on Grand Final Day. They all blend together after all. after a while. It's a festival of rugby, Joshy.
Certainly is, and great to see for the first time in 3 years. There's always a bit of atmosphere down here at Endeavour Hills with the tunes on. And that one just stops in an absolute bog, giving you an idea of the sort of surface that this field has got in some patches. Garcia sends that one back to Harden and just struggles with the grip on the ball, getting that cleanly onto the boot. And that's going to be run up pretty hard in the midfield there by Sialoga Leota. And Tiatia Ciolo finds a little bit of space down the blind side there. And a bit of a messy counter-attack there has given away the advantage, and we will come back for a penalty there for another off their feet penalty, I believe it was.
Yeah, still plenty of time to play, half an hour. It's always interesting, Joshy, to see how the tactics change when you're a player in the bin. So if they can, waste a little bit of time with these line-outs, a couple of scrum resets, you can wipe off 10 minutes pretty quick, smart. And that's certainly what Po Pesse is probably hoping as he sits in front of us in the naughty chair, Joshy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And line out just outside the 22 here for Brimbank, and they'll keep with that same structure of the back rowers in the midfield, looking for that crash option or out the back to the back line. And Nimarota again takes that one now into contact, and good long place for quick ball there. And it's taken off the back now as the backs are all set out to this right-hand side here. And strong run, but stronger hit. And forcing the error there was number 16 on the field for Kiwi Hawthorn, Fergus Manners. Just drilled in Tapu low and hard. And that's some great contact to force an error. And I think it's Liuga who's, I think he might have a nasty cramp. Rolling around in all sorts.
Yeah, that was odd.
Got sniped there.
Yeah, just fell out. I'm not sure if you can see it at home, but in back play, just like he'd been shot, it's cramping up. End of a long season, Joshy. So the subs are getting warmed up either end of the field at the moment. So these are the minutes that the coaches, Tamali'i and Tiopira, will be looking at their benches, thinking about what they can inject just to lift the energy a little bit. Yeah, it looks like his day might be done here, Joshy.
Yeah, not
Palaluga.
sure if a real bad calf cramp or maybe even a tear, but
So both wingers will be off. Starting wingers, one in the sin bin, one with a calf strain.
just seeing if that 10 minutes is up yet, and I don't believe it is.
He's getting a bit ahead of himself, Po Pesse there. Just asking questions of the assistant referees.
So
Wishful questions.
we've had Christopher Tugaga take the field now for Brimbank, 16 jersey.
He comes onto the wing, does he? Yep.
Looks like he'll sit on this right wing. And scrum inside their 22 here for Kiwi Hawthorn, so Arden will be looking to try and pull off a few metres here to get them safely out of their own end.
Hard run it. You got the extra man in the back line. Chance your arm.
I think Harden's been a kick first option all day today. And does well with that one. Puts it over halfway.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, the way they're defending at the moment with the man in the bin, Brimbank, is they're still committing 8 to the scrum, which does leave you a little bit susceptible to the run option, particularly from scrums, if the backs want to shift it. But, Harden, fair enough. Safety first, grand final, totally understandable.
And one well there by Tio Pira. And Nimarota, that first man off the line out again. But we're going to come back for a penalty to Brimbank there. Infringement at the line out.
And are we back to... No, about 2 minutes away, I'm being told.
Ciolo try and peel off a few metres here and get Brimbank down into attacking territory.
Not much wind to speak of today, Joshy. I've got to say, this is the most picturesque day we've had all year in club rugby. Currently 19 degrees, no breeze whatsoever. Where's this sun been all season?
Yeah, we couldn't quite crack the 20-degree mark, but yeah, certainly nice to have blue skies and sunshine out. Probably helping dry up the field somewhat.
Short line out again. I love seeing this. Just Nimarota lurking in the midfields.
Yeah, he's been the option man, sort of taking it in the last few attempts. We'll see if it goes out the back now to Leota this time, who looks a little bit more set to run that block play off the back. And option there to Tapu, crashes that one up. Backs again, set out to the right.
Oh.
And tip ball on to Ciologa Leota, who's been hard to stop all day. And Mayota now on to, that's out wide to the new man, Christopher Tugaga, and he storms over the defence there, and he seems pretty happy about getting the ball down, but it's going to be a bit of a conference there between referee and assistant referee. And try has been awarded. Great strength from the replacement Tugaga. Bumped his opposite man out of the way and gets over to get Brimbank back in front in this game.
Yeah, put that down to Shane Tugaga, the number 9. When he darted out of the base of the ruck 2 phases earlier, you could just see how he started to pull defenders out of the way around the fringe of the ruck. And then there's the beautiful tip pass he threw. I fancy it was Leroy Tapu, who then got in behind the line. And the most impressive thing about that was when Tapu placed the ball back, Tugaga, rather than locking off the breakdown like we see so many players do and slowing down the game, immediately recycled the ball. So Kiwi Hawthorn were playing on their heels for the next phase. The ability of a halfback to change the pace of a game like that, to know when to go slow, when to go quickly, is critical. And I know we're some way out from full time and this game is a long way from being decided, but he's an early contender for man of the match, Shane Tugaga, the number 9 for Brimbank. Outstanding.
The Ciolo with an opportunity to push this lead a little bit further out. It's coming around pretty well.
Oh, he forgot his wheat bix, Joshy.
Just under the bar that time. So 17 points to 15. The lead for Brimbank, and we've had, what, about 6 lead changes so far in this game?
Yeah, good old seesaw. Oh. Sammy. Do you know who 21 is for Brimbank?
And ball back underway now, Dowie, and that one finds the turf before being popped back up now and returned with interest there from Pessy, who's back on from his stint in the sin bin. He'll be looking to make up for lost time there. Nimarota places that one back now. Box kick is the option there from Rapati, who is the replacement halfback that's on. And that one straight through the legs, bold stump out of the ground on that case was Pessy. And Rapati sends it back to Pessy in question. And a few of the Brimbank forwards just taking their time to get back on side here and juggled by Ciolo before putting up a wobbly kick. It's going to come down to McCann here, who's got a little bit of space to work with, but some defence to beat. And pops that one shakily out to Walker, who pops it back to McCann. And he will be taken into touch pretty well there by Vasily Leota. Counter-attack opportunity there for Kiwi Hawthorn after a wobbly old kick, but Brimbank had the defenders there to match them.
Yeah, that was the most impressive part about it. Even after a kick which wasn't pretty, the kick chase from the Brimbank outside backs was flawless there. So that's a sign of willingness, the kick chase.
It's off the back now, and that's a big cutout pass there. It's going to Tapu. Being held up in the tackle so far. Don't think it's been called a maul. Released now. And tipped on there by Mulgatai. We have seen some great interplay from the forwards on the fringes from Brimbank today. And Maota out to Leota. Finds Pessi on the far wing, and he is bumps off Tale. Offload away back to Leota. And Brimbank peeling off some metres there. Advantage now being played, and the penalty will be awarded there. Just another man off their feet at ruck time from Kiwi Hawthorn as the penalties mount up against them now. That's the 13th penalty against them today.
Yeah, Pereira, the man, the replacement for Kiwi Hawthorn, who left his feet at that breakdown. But, you can see it right in front of their fans as well, Joshy. They're filling the grandstand on the far side, and that's one of their marquees as well, Brimbank. They've got quite the supporters group here this afternoon. We're in afternoon now.
Just taking a bit of time to get going again here. See plenty of crowd involvement on that far sideline.
Bit of chat going on with the crowd.
Just asking their players what their dinner plans are.
It looks like a Western Districts players as well coming out in support. Quite a few of them in the stands this afternoon. All right, so replacement. It looks like Kamuda is coming on for the Bucks, Joshy.
Can't miss him with that hair.
And of course, Rapati on at number 9 for Tugaga. I get it. You've got two halves, but gosh, he had a whale of a game that.
Yeah,
didn't he, the Shane Tugaga, the number 9 for Brimbank?
Yeah, certainly electric in that first 50 minutes or so of the game. Just really lots of options, great skill set to provide plenty of attacking flair for Brimbank, and he'll go a long way towards them winning this game if they're able to hang on to the lead. It's EJ Terrell that has come off the field for Kamuta. Game just slowed down a little bit now with a few of these stoppages. Be interesting to see if either team can kick the tempo back up a bit that we saw at the start of this second half. And this time one against the head. That one was Matty Grant, the captain for Kiwi Hawthorn, and that's an important win there for them. Penalty will come as well as we start to see more of these back and forth momentum shifts in this game. Both teams are really struggling to get any sort of ascendancy, even once they've hit the lead.
Yeah, nature of finals footy. Momentum can swing big and it can swing quickly. And this is where the bench really comes into its own. And as I say that, Joshy, comes to the sideline. It looks like he's about to be injected, the prop. And final 20 minutes, you start to see a lot of fresh faces out there. What impact are those replacements going to have, those finishes? That's going to be the critical question now.
Yeah, it's got to be a few tired bodies out there now. Be a burst of energy from one of these bench players that could turn this game either way. And off the hands of Matty Grant that time. Seen a lot of lineouts against the throw today. And chipped ahead by Leota, and Hudson will find that one and just working out where he's going with it. Beats a couple there, but hit hard by Kamuta as he clears that ball away. And Pessy scoops that one up before plonking it back down the middle of the field there. And Harden will have a bit of time here to try and peel off some metres. A little wobbly off the boot, but it will get them up towards that halfway line. And a bit of a territory battle starting to happen here.
Yeah, really smart play there from Po Pessy. We saw the last time he got ball in hand, he bumped off one or two defenders and made an easy 30 metres upfield. The temptation always is to do that, but that's the sign of grand final footy. He took the smart play there to put it on the shoot, and it worked out for them. Clever footballer.
And we have got number 18, Pazalaya A, on the field now. Setting himself in the middle of the field. Must want a wide hit up.
Oh, nice long throw.
And actually, it's Pessy who's come off the field, so maybe he's playing in the back line. Kamata takes that one up, but he's met pretty well there in midfield. Ropati now onto Leota, onto his namesake Vasily Leota, and low pass to Christopher Tugaga, fends off but bundled into touch there by the tackle of Connor McCann. And a couple of these passes maybe just a little bit off the mark and not giving the wider men the best opportunity to hit them at pace and continue down the line.
Final 10 minutes now, and if you're Kiwi Hawthorn, you're looking around your team and you're thinking, who's going to be the game breaker here? And this is where Ollie Hudson has to stand up, and Sekeli Tali. They're the two speedsters who can score from anywhere. So if they're going to claw their way back into this, I think you're number 13, you're number 15 for Kiwi Hawthorn. They're going to have to get moving.
And I think both teams just looking to try and string a few phases together. It's Garcia. Sends that one on now to Harden, who's going to go a slightly more attacking option with the shorter chip, but Mayotte is there to clean that one up before giving a big don't argue to the forehead of Harden. And Tugaga takes that one down as Ropati just looks to set his troops. And little dummy end go there, but he was wrapped up by Nathan Benefield. And Nimaroda with the cutout pass to Kamata, who sends another one himself. And maybe a little bit advantageous there. I think it was actually A who threw that last pass. And just getting a bit happy-go-lucky with some of these cutouts today, which has not come off for both teams on a couple of occasions now.
No, and it was not the play, because you see Kiwi Hawthorn, they're the ones turning to the desperate measures now, such as the chip kick from their own 22, which we saw Harden execute. So trying to throw a cut out when you're controlling the game in the middle of the field, it's a strange play. I fancy they would have preferred to play more territory at this point, Brimbank, when they're leading on the scoreboard. Play into the corners and back the fact that you lead by 2 points. You don't want to be playing in your half and bring that penalty goal into the equation as a way for Kiwi Hawthorn to try to steal this late.
Looks like you got Brodie Walker in the 12 jersey there. He's trying to sort of organise this Kiwi Hawthorn backline for what they're coming up with next. Big shove from Brimbank, puts him on the back foot. And now to Nogueira. Finds Hudson, and he's got a bit of 2-on-1 space here. Puts it out to McCann. He was cleaned up pretty late there by Mayotte, and I wonder if... Doesn't look like assistant referees caught that, but he did cop a pretty late arm there.
Yeah, Hudson's down. Drops like a sack of spuds. And, well, that's huge. We're just saying one of the two danger men for Kiwi Hawthorn who can break this game open. The last thing they need is him sitting out the final 10 minutes. No,
and maybe just escaped the eyes of our officials there, because certainly looked a little bit late and not the most legal of hits there from Mayotte.
Yeah, Matty Grant getting stuck into them now. It's it's now in that period of time where the next score could potentially win it one way or the other. Obviously, if they kick out by more than 7 points, Brimbank, it's hard to see Kiwi Hawthorn clawing their way back. Yet, with 8 or so minutes to go, if they kick a penalty here, I'd back Kiwi Hawthorn to be able to keep Brimbank out for the rest of the match, you know? So, with that in mind, they're playing in a good field position here, Kiwi Hawthorn. You know, always a chance when you're playing in the opposition half for a penalty goal, pick up the 3 points, so they'll be happy to keep play down here.
Yeah, Brimbank can't feel too comfortable with the 2-point lead as Matty Grant steals that one. And this trend of lineouts against the throw just continues on and on today. As Kiwi now look to try and get a bit of momentum, peel off that territory and see if they can try and at least win an advantage here. As Garcia just sets it at the back now. Harden, cut out pass to Walker, finds Tale, who's got that footwork in midfield. It's a sloppy offload away there, cleaned up by Walker, and they're going backwards a little bit, Kiwi Hawthorn at the moment, and turned the ball over. Just a bit of indecisiveness from a few players in the back line there as to what was happening and where the ball was going, and it's come back to bite them a bit there.
Funnily enough, I think that's where their best chance is going to come, Kiwi Hawthorn. Keeping a close eye on Leota and I working together, the new midfield combination for Brimbank, and I just feel that they might be a little bit brittle in defence, Joshy. The last 2 occasions they've gone to them, really disjointed, those two working together in tandem, and as they get a little bit more tired, I mean, he's not a small man, I just wonder if there's space in or around him that could potentially be exploited by a Kiwi Hawthorn. I'd keep pushing it to the edge. I think there's going to be a mistake defensively around 12-13.
And again, a bit sloppy at line-out time, but I think you're exactly right, G. I mean, they are down in a grand final, so you do have to chance your arm a fair bit.
And Leota, he's shown a couple of times he'd rather jam. When he's got 2 runners running at him, inside shoulder, outside shoulder, he favours hitting with his inside shoulder. So if you can send a second man play around him, you know, 9 times out of 10, he's going to hit the man hitting his inside shoulder, and he likes to put on the big shot. So, yeah, I think there's a chance around that wedge part of the defensive line.
Dowie sends this one in, and the maul's set now by Kiwi Hawthorn as Garcia looks just to get it at the back and get a bit of control under this play. Still going forward. They've broken off that main pack from Brimbank's defence, but been taken well into touch there. So what started well just got pushed the wrong way and ball lost. Although I can see an arm up for a penalty from Jason Brayton-Buck, and offside, I think, at the back of the line out was the call there.
Yeah, Teo Pura not happy with it, the skipper. And being put under real pressure here. I'll tell you what about a pressure kick here for Peter Harden? He doesn't have much of an angle, Joshy.
Well, don't even bother because Michael Dowie's pointed at the sticks.
No.
What would be all of 46 metres out and maybe 7 metres in from touch.
On the angle, that's 52 metres, Joshy, and you're kicking uphill by about a metre if you factor in the slope of the ground, and they're kicking on a bit of a dodgy turf here this afternoon. This would be a kick for the ages.
He's going to have to certainly give it his best whack, Dowie. That last kick from the far touchline, which would be the equivalent of about probably sort of 43, 44 metres, and that looked to only just have the distance hitting the post from there. So not sure if he maybe didn't give that his all, but nevertheless, opportunity here, and you can't imagine they wouldn't be taking the shot if you didn't think he was a chance to get it.
Yeah, well, but you know, I might eat my words here, Joshy, but you plug it into the corner, you might only make it to the 22. You win your line out, you're every chance of getting another penalty 20 metres further upfield from a collapsed maul.
Although maybe with that inconsistency of the line outs, just not backing that as an option. Brimbank fans on that far stand trying to let Dowie know that they're there. Moves in now. He's got a decent amount on it. It's very close. John, he's got the kick.
Wow,
what a play. Michael Dowie You mentioned at the start of the game, G, just the impact that he had last week, and could that be the decisive blow as they now hit the lead by 1 point? We've got a quick kickoff straight back underway, but they didn't really think that one through. There was straight to a defender and no one chasing. Kiwi Hawthorn now with the pressure on to maintain this lead. And Harden, he's throwing a cutout to Dowie, who will put it on the toe himself. And that one's out on the full. Boy, boy, pressure getting to both teams at the moment.
Well, that's about 53 metres on the fly, Joshy, that kick, when you consider the angle. That is huge. And at this stage of a game, 5 minutes or so to go to pull that off. Huge play by Dowie.
Yeah, we got a hot last few minutes coming up in this game here. The undefeated Brimbank side, could they stumble at the final hurdle? Nimaroda, he gets through the first tackle before being pulled down. And Leota there, Sialoga, who's been tough all day to stop. Brimbank look to try and just set themselves. They'll be hoping to mount enough attacking pressure here and force a penalty of their own.
Yeah.
Rapati, he's been darting around the edge of the ruck there, looking for space, and there is the advantage as we speak about it. They'll fancy their chances now to try and sort of run this in and create a bit of space. Do we even see an attempted drop goal at some point maybe with the advantage?
Yeah, good call.
And fancy, they're going to have to chance their arm a little bit here. Party just figuring out where he's going, and
have they still got the advantage? That's the big question.
Can't imagine it's gone. They've only gone forward about 5 metres. Nimaroda peels off a few extra metres with that run, and we are going to come back now. And I think referee Jason Brimbank's maybe gone a little bit further than where that original mark was, but we've got to make this interesting for the last few minutes. So
yeah, and Joshy, I'm not sure that's the most stable ground there either.
Yeah, it does look a bit soft.
Yeah, like
38 metres out, right in front of the post, and I mean, as we say that, just the slightest of breezes is kicking up. That's going to be pretty much going into the kicker's face here, and will be the young man, Vice Tia Ciolo, with the responsibility of putting this one over. I mean, we haven't really had a speck of wind all day, and it has just picked up.
Oh, huge. Flawless season. Unbeaten. Now, at the biggest stage, and it looks like the assistant referee is rushing out to pass a message. Just getting rid of the water carriers, yeah. How many times have we seen this in history? Undefeated sides, grand final, upsets, Joshy. But at least now it's in their own hands, Brimbank. If they are good enough, they will win this. They've got the chance with a kick in front to prove to Victoria they are the best club side in 2022.
Struck pretty well, and that is over, and Brimbank will regain the lead. Game not over as of yet, still a few minutes to go in the hands of referee Jason Breitenbach. 20 points to 18 is the lead in favour of Brimbank, and you fancy this one's going to have to be a sure kick to try and regather. So the crowd certainly right into it. And it's probably just a touch deep, that one. And the ball has been put not quite straight out, taken in very well there by the replacement, but assistant referee signalled in touch, and that is not full time yet.
Premature storming of the ground. The entire reserves bench for Brimbank went running out. The clock here obviously just keeps running, and it's not the referee's time, so they're going off the scoreboard clock, which is out by a few minutes. So, yeah.
Well, another line out here. Will we see another one against the throw?
Ooh.
And who's cleaned that one up? I think Brimbank have there. And taking one off the ruck there as Brimbank will look to just try and consolidate this and hold on to the ball, but making sure they don't give away a penalty. Although, as I say that, the box kick is charged down. Retained the ball there, Brimbank, but just not sure how to close out this game by the look of it, either team. It's Mailta. And on the toe now from Salivi Leota. And counter-attack opportunity here as McCann finds himself in a bit of space. He'll want to stay in field. Off a hand there from Brimbank, but I don't believe it's been picked up. So lucky to get away with one there as they now come away with possession through Christopher Tugaga. And Row Party looking for the box kick again. Charge down again, but will be into touch there off the hands of Fergus Manners.
Yeah, he needs to be a bit careful with these box kicks. That's 2 in a row. You need to set up a caterpillar or at least have a blocker on the right-hand side of the ruck if you're a right-foot halfback. And he's been caught out twice now. So you just wonder if maybe the pass to the fly half to kick might be a better option for Brimbank if they want to exit.
Exactly right. And Matty Grant just looking to see if he can time this jump to win it. And, he got a hand to it, and the Kiwi Hawthorn have come away with it. Game is certainly not over yet. Garcia just steadying things at the back. And that is the replacement there, Cork Sonny, who takes the ball into contact. Garcia just looking to find his forwards, get a bit of structure. Michael Dow, he's been one of the best on the ground today. And there is the penalty.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Another big, big moment in this game.
Kickable range as well.
And you're going to have the perfect angle on the camera on this kick at home. And there he is pointing to the sticks again. Could we have a third kick to potentially win the game?
Oh my gosh, this is, how many lead changes has this been, 8 or 9? I'll tell you what, Joshy, if he kicks this, give him the Man of the Match award, would you?
Yeah, I agree. I think, despite spending 10 in the bin, he's been everywhere.
Rocks and diamonds, everything today.
Much like my golf game, rocks and diamonds. You have to be chasing this ball up. Kiwi Hawthorn, just on the off chance it ricochets off a post or falls loose on the ground. Huge moment here in this Premiership Grand Final. Dowie moves in. Looks pretty good. Sneaks it inside the right hand upright. And Kiwi Hawthorn are back in front, 21 points to 20. Not at the full-time whistle just yet.
That took the paint off the right upright, Joshy. Oh my gosh, that was close.
Oh, wow-wee. Brimbank just all sort of bunched in the middle of the field, a little bit unsure of where they're going.
I'm being told 60 seconds, Joshy.
Ball goes loose there and cleaned up by Eddie Pereira. And Garcia now to Dower. He'll just want to get that the hell out of there. And it's a booming kick with Tia Tiasiolo now. You've got to hold this ball, you think. And beats the first defender. Taken well there by Brodie Walker, who's been another standout for Kiwi Hawthorn today.
Oh!
And the error of this force there. Christopher Tugaga spills it. There's the full-time whistle. Kiwi Hawthorn are your Premiership premiers. 21 points to 20 over an undefeated Brimbank side. What a grand final.
Buck Hunters. Kiwi Hawthorn, the Buck Hunters. And what about the celebrations far into the fields, Joshy? We've had 2 upsets in 2 games on field number 1 here. A day of upsets. Oh my gosh, and look at the celebrations here. you've got to feel for Brimbank, because say what you want about who the better side was today, for a team to bring it week in, week out, all year like Brimbank have done, you've got to feel for them. Take nothing away from the wonderful celebrations Kiwi Hawthorn are having right now, and rightfully so. But, oh gosh, there's a lot of sad faces on that Brimbank bench, isn't there, Joshy?
Yeah, exactly right. It's never fun being on the losing end of a grand final after especially having such a successful season like you mentioned. And, I mean, they certainly put in a great effort today, but Kiwi Hawthorn just would not go down. And, yeah, I mean, I think that last kick from Michael Dowie, certainly impressive to regain the lead, and certainly now the victory for Kiwi Hawthorn. But you've got to go back to that one before, that over 50 metres in distance, and crept it over the bar. What a performance from the number 8 today.
Are we calling it man of the match?
I'm happy to.
All right, he's got it, and he can collect his meat pie from the canteen at full time.
Yes, and so we see plenty of support on the field there as we just look to start our formal proceedings for the grand final presentation. And we'll leave that on your screens today as we wrap up our commentary of the Premiership Grand Final. I've been your host, Josh Rickard-Ford, with Jared McClenahan. And congratulations to Kiwi Hawthorn, victors 21 points to 20.
Let's go Kiwi Hawthorn. Can we have both teams over here, please, for our presentation? DJ, just a little bit down. Let's go over here, please, Kiwi Hawthorn.
Out around. Gillum Jones is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson? Cracks all the way back in. It does. And he's locked in, but what a goal!